I'm here today with Victoria Diaz, a starting strength coach since 2017, and soon to be the head coach at Starting Strength San Antonio. Victoria, thank you for joining me today. I'm so excited to sit down with you and talk about your journey here.
Thank you so much for having me, Ina. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
So this was a big move for you. You left New York to take this head coach position. I know that Brent Carter, who's the owner of San Antonio and Dallas and Plano, really wanted you in this position. And that's because you guys really have a history together and you've worked together. And what a great opportunity. And when I found out you were going to be the head coach, I was like, yes.
Yes, got those New York history people coming from that area. I was actually just talking to Brent right before we moved, and it was funny because I was first offered a position in New York. There was an investor in March of 2020 that wanted to open a gym in Manhattan, and I remember talking to Brent about it and just getting some advice. And he told me, he was like, "Oh, I'd secretly hoped to like one day draw you out to Texas and get you to run one of my gyms." And I was kind of like, "Haha, yeah, sure, that'll never happen." And then now here we are, end of 2021.
Yeah, and when is San Antonio opening up?
We are going to start running our intro sessions on Saturday, November 20th, and we'll run them all right before Thanksgiving and then take Thanksgiving off. And then our first classes will begin Monday, November 29th.
God, that's so exciting. Are you ready?
Yeah. I hope so. No, I'm very excited. It's going to be great. It's definitely been a long time coming, and just thrilled to be a part of this process.
Well, San Antonio is very lucky to have you as their head coach. I know that you also, you like to compete, and I've had the pleasure of having you on our platform at Woodmere Fitness Club in New York. And you've been kicking butt for a very long time. I know that you have a passion for competing. So I know that that gym that you'll be heading up will certainly be enjoying some competitive spirit.
That's very true. And if any of my siblings watch this, they know that I grew up in a very competitive family. And just that started from a young age, just any type of game we were playing. But it's definitely crossed over into the powerlifting realm. And yeah, I'm excited to bring that to our community and just see people hit major PRs during these competitions. It's definitely something that I love, and it gives just a focus for training. Obviously, we all want to get stronger, and that's our goal, but it just kind of makes it a little bit more specific and kind of as like a reward at the end of like 6 months or a year of hard training. So definitely excited to get back at it. I think my last competition was the coaches competition in 2018. So super excited to get another one in probably 2022. I don't think I'll do one the end of this year, but definitely excited to get back into that.
I really enjoyed watching you compete. What were some of your recent PRs? What are your PRs in the lifts that you've competed in?
So at competition, I've squatted 260 pounds and deadlifted at your meet. Actually, the first time I ever pulled over 300 was at your meet. I've since pulled 315 off of the floor. And let's see, I overhead press over 115, and my bench PR is at 155.
You are a strong young lady. And it's very impressive, and it's very refreshing to see women lifting and getting strong. And I know that's something you and I really bonded over in our time in New York as we were, up and coming coaches and helping to get people strong. And I know that that's really one of your where your passions lie, is helping to inform women, educate women that this tool of barbell training and the idea of getting stronger, it really should be embraced by them, that it's for them. And I know that you've been very driven by that personally as a coach. So talk to me a little bit about what it's been like, when you first got into this, and we will chat about how your time and focus institute, but when you first got into this and you realized that not every female was embracing this like you had, what was that like for you, trying to get women to lift? And what is it that you discovered for yourself first that really gave you that aha moment where you're like, oh my God, this is a game changer?
Yeah, so I just kind of as like a summary, I played soccer for over 10 years through high school and right before college. And so that's kind of what kept me active and fit through most of my life. And I never really had to, like, I wasn't one of those who struggled with my weight. But when soccer ended, I wasn't really doing too much. And I enjoyed the fit lifestyle, you could say. And when I did move to New York, that was when I was exposed to starting strength. And what kind of excited me about it was just that idea of getting stronger. And I don't, before I encountered that school in New York, I don't think I fully understood what strength was. And so when starting strength presented their model the way that they did, it just totally grabbed me. And I used myself as an experiment. My dad is always about like, if you're wanting to try something, do it on yourself first. And so I did. I said, okay, let's jump right into it. And I got myself a coach, and I saw very quickly how it worked. And it just, when you get that hands on experience personally, and you get to see the benefits, it just completely changes how you see everything. And so I saw how it benefited me, and not only physically and, from my day to day working in the city, to playing soccer at night, but also just how I felt and how I looked. And I realized that it didn't, most of the fears surrounding weightlifting and women, which is changing now, thankfully, is that people get big and bulky, and that's not true. And I mean, we could just look at you, we could look at me, and other female coaches and say, yeah, that is absolutely not the case. When you lift heavy, you don't get big and bulky. And I think that's like my biggest thing when it comes to women is like, hey, we can be strong and we can look feminine and we can feel great and be putting up these very impressive numbers. And so that's what I think I'm most excited about, and not getting into, I think there's a balance when it comes to nutrition for sure. And everyone has their own specific needs, but just being able to be a little bit more free with that, because we burn so many calories throughout the day, because we have so much more muscle mass on us, is really just a freeing way to live life, and just exciting to kind of break into the female community in San Antonio with that mindset.
Ooh, it is, it really is a game changer for women. And like you said, it breaks that mindset of being trapped by diet or over exercising. And what I love most about it is that when a woman, feels that heavy deadlift or heavy squat move where she hadn't expected it to, it's like everything changes emotionally for the woman, and they realize,
Mm,
well, I'm way more capable than I thought I was. So what else can I try that I would be more capable at that I thought? And that just opened doors for them. And that's like a gift that you can't really give people unless you have tools like these. And
absolutely.
I know that the women in Starting Strength San Antonio are going to learn a lot from you and be inspired by you, your competitive spirit, your nurturing spirit. And I guess, we have Brent to thank for this. So I know that you and Brent had met at Focus Institute. Is that right?
We did, yeah, all the way
Tell
in New
me a
York
little bit.
City.
Tell me a little bit
Uh,
about when you met him, and then how it progressed to him, teaching you and becoming your coach.
sure. Yeah. So I met Brent in the fall of 2015 in New York City. He was a teacher at the Focus Personal Training Institute, and he because of his background with starting strength, there was a strength module as part of the course that we were required to take. And so my first interaction with Brent Carter was he was my teacher, and he was the guy that was all about barbells, and nobody liked him. And it was just like that was just who he was. And and it's just interesting. Like I try not to like, judge someone by their appearance, but that was really like everyone was saying that. And so that was kind of like my first impression of Brent. After 6 months of schooling, I did an internship with um, the fitness side of Focus Personal Training Institute. So they had Focus Integrated Fitness, which is also where Brent worked as a coach. He had his own barbell class there, as well as the personal training clients that he was seeing. And so I was hired into that fitness company. And so from my teacher, Brent became a coworker. And I remember talking to my mentor at the time through that company. And I was like, I don't like lifting around Brent. Like he's just, he's always lifting so heavy. Like I always feel super intimidated. And I've never forgotten what this guy said to me. He was like, you got to get to know him. Like it just, that might be what you see on the outside, but once you meet him, he's a great guy. And so I took that and I was like, okay, and I don't think it was overnight, not at all, but it was a process. And I did get to know Brent, and I didn't think it would ever lead to this. It's definitely something that I laugh about, that like, oh my gosh, when I met him, I didn't think I would ever work for him. Like not that I ever wrote it off, but it's just not the thing you think about when you meet someone, like, oh, one day I'm going to work for this person. But yeah, so after becoming coworkers, after years of working together, we eventually became friends. And he actually moved to Texas well before my husband and I. I think he left New York in 2019. And things definitely felt a lot different. And still, I had no intention of jumping into a gym, being a head coach. It was still, before COVID, everything was kind of like cruising along in New York. And my husband and I were just kind of like happy to be there and just keep doing what we were doing, and not really like seeing a change to our routine. And it was really COVID and the city shutting down that pushed us out of New York. And we were like, oh, starting to consider what are our other options. And I didn't realize it because I think I just was focused on things going on in our life, but the gyms were really expanding and they were constantly opening new locations and looking for coaches. And when we got out of the city, I mean, it just felt like people were coming out of the woodwork calling me like, hey, do you want to go work at a gym? Hey, this city, what about this city? And I mean, from the West Coast to the middle of the country, Texas, like, I mean, they were throwing out locations that I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? And it was kind of cool because it really gave my husband and I an opportunity to say, oh, like, what is this next step for us? And that was when I, got reconnected with Brent, and he was really, really interested in bringing me on as a head coach somewhere. And the reason why we came to Texas was actually about a different location that ended up not working out. And then we were like, he proposed the idea of San Antonio, and without ever visiting here, my husband and I were like, yeah, we like the idea of San Antonio, let's go.
That is so cool. I mean, look, we're all here. We all kind of started, in the same place in New York, kind of newbie coaches. And then over time, just really felt strongly about the mission of the company and starting strength and everything that the Asgard company had built. And, here we all are working for the gyms because it's our way of giving it back to the community, on a bigger scale. And you mentioned something, you talked about being nervous in the beginning because he was lifting so heavy, and you were feeling kind of insecure about it. What was that turning point for you where you were like, you went from being afraid to I got this? Do you remember a particular moment or workout?
Yeah, so I don't really think that there was like a specific moment, but I think it was like gradual over time. So when I first started lifting, I had a coach that was coaching me online. And so it wasn't in person and in the moment. And I don't think at the time I really valued that in time feedback. Like I would think at the time was just more interested of like, I don't know how to program. Can you program for me and kind of like give me some form feedback? And so that was kind of how my relationship with my coach started. Um, and so when it came to like Brent and I lifting together, I think it was like you said, just like my insecurities of like, oh, I'm sure I'm doing it wrong. Like I don't want him to like judge me for how I'm squatting. But I think over time, and as I got more interested in strength and the idea of becoming a coach, I really started to value that in time feedback. And so since Brent was already a coach, if I lifted with him, then he could coach me when he wasn't lifting. And so it became more exciting to lift with him because I wanted to learn and I wanted him to critique me because I wanted to get better. And I knew that he would be the person that I could learn from in that area. And so that was I think that was why it was gradual, that I ended up enjoying working out with him. And not that I would like maybe look on the calendar and see when he was lifting and then try to go into the gym and be like, oh, Brent's lifting at this time, so I need to go in and lift at this time. but yeah, so I think it was a gradual process of like my confidence and then just appreciating the value of a coach.
Yeah, and that's something that people who hesitate trying barbell training, walking into a gym, they have all of these preconceived notions of what's going to be happening, and people who know of starting strength are like super excited and they see the gym coming to their city, they can't wait. But there are people who really don't know much about it, but know that they need to get stronger for health reasons, or just really are not people who want to play sports or dance, and they really enjoy learning a new skill. They walk into this with all these preconceived notions, and then they come out realizing that the true value of this thing is the relationship with the coach, the educational component to this. You see, it isn't, people walk in thinking we're going to count reps and sets, or we're going to tell them to work harder, you got to toughen up, or some idea they have about weightlifting, and they don't realize that you guys are experts in your field, and that you're going to be educating them in the same way that you were kind of enlightened and educated along the way. So talk to me a little bit about what it's going to be like when someone walks in for an intro session at San Antonio, because somebody could be watching this excited to come join the gym, but maybe a little intimidated. So what is it like to walk in and start day one?
Sure. So I'll talk about the appearance of the gym and then kind of go into the details of the intro session that we'll run. So if you've never seen what a franchise gym looks like, there's going to be a very small lobby area that is a different flooring from our regular gym floor. And each side of there will be two walls, and on each wall there's going to be two TVs, and they're going to display the overall gym PRs for the current gym, and then it'll switch to PRs across all of the gyms. So you'll get to see like numbers from people in Dallas, Denver, Houston, Plano. So if anybody has hit like all gyms PR, it'll be on that TV screen. And then on the other TV screen, it'll actually list the roster of the people in the current class, as well as what their numbers are for that day. And so there's an app that people will utilize when they come and become a part of the gym, that they'll input all of their numbers into for the current workout and then future workouts. And as the coach, I'll be there to help them program for their next workout. So before they leave, let's say they come in on Monday, before they leave, they'll already have their numbers for Wednesday loaded up, so that when they come in on Wednesday, they can look at the screen. That's what I'm doing today. I'm squatting 65 pounds, pressing 50, and deadlifting 85, whatever it is. So that's already going to be there. And then if you just look forward, like it's going to be a completely open space. You'll just see the 8 platforms. There'll be 9 platforms, but 8 power racks set up on the platforms, and then 1 Olympic lifting platform all the way in the back. And then at the back of the space, there's going to be 2 bathrooms, and then like a utility closet, room for storage as well. And that's it. That's our gym. We've got barbells for every rack, enough plates for every rack. So if we had a full class of 9 individuals, each individual will have their own platform and space and bars and plates to work with. So it's really nice. So it's really your own space that you get. It's personal, and then the coach will walk around the room throughout coaching each individual as they get to their last warm up and their work set. When it comes to the intro sessions, we get a chance to tour the gym. There might be one other intro session going on at the time, or you might be the only person in there with me or my other coach at San Antonio, which is Matt Haber. During the intro session, we're just going to go over the class format for you, so that when it comes to the class, you're not stepping in kind of like, I don't know what to do. But we're going to go over the class format. We're going to show you the TVs. We're going to get you logged into the app. But then we're also going to go over 3 exercises. We're going to go over the squat and the teaching progressions with that. We're going to go over the press, and then we're also going to go over the deadlift. And when it comes to those 3 exercises, if someone has never squatted before, there's so many people that we've brought into these gyms that have never squatted before. And so we're fully equipped to be able to handle that. We always take the individual at their current, like where they are at that moment. So if they are not strong enough to get to the bottom of the squat, we make a modification for that. They can sit down to a box or a band or whatever it is that we seem appropriate at that time. Or if they can't get the bar in the back, like we make adjustments for all of those cases. So I want to encourage people that may feel a little bit intimidated to not worry about that. We are going to do our best to get you into the position that we find is most safe and efficient for you. So for brand new lifters, I think it's a perfect place to be. Also with the intro session, it's focused you time. Like it's just you and I. There's nobody else that I'm worried about at that time. It's just you and teaching you how to squat. And then same thing, we'll go over the press and the deadlift. And so then before you leave, you already have an idea of what your first workout's going to look like that first day of class.
Mm-hmm.
You'll already have the numbers loaded up in the app. So when you come in day one, you know where to go. You can pick a platform, you get the bar set up, start your warm-ups, and then again, we'll be around kind of coaching as the sets progress.
Right. So as people, are hearing you talk about it, it's obvious that, this isn't a situation where people are going to walk in and not know where to go or what to do. You hold your hand, you hold their hand through this whole process. It's a lot of one-on-one attention. And I think it's important for people to remember that really we start, where they are. We don't have any preconceived notions of, how strong they should be. This isn't a test, right? This is just an information session, putting them through the movement patterns, answering their questions, knowing where it is. We're trying to find the point at which they're going to be starting. And then they're going to be progressing, at a pace incrementally that's doable for them, where they can complete the movements in a safe way, an effective way. So it's a really unique opportunity for people of San Antonio who are, have been waiting to improve their health and improve their strength, to prevent disease, to prevent frailty, and for women and men to really build their self-confidence and kind of figure out like, hey, where is the cap of my potential, right? It might be higher. I'm more capable than I thought I was. And with that kind of coaching talent, it's easy to be successful. And what I really love about these gyms also, you had mentioned that you have, one person per rack, and these are stations that are really customized. They have their own equipment, which is awesome. But I think that also there's this bond that happens that people aren't aware of when they come to a gym. They think they're just going to be working out, alone, or kind of feel awkward. But like there's this bond that grows in these groups, and people are so enthusiastic. You talked about the technology that's in the gym, and we sure have a lot of fun using that technology for some competitions amongst the gyms. But also there's a bond in these groups, that I'm sure you can speak to, that people don't realize happens. And it's like, it's something very special when you all have the same language of strength. You cheer for each other, and that's not something people are used to seeing in gyms.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's what's so great, right? Like most communities are built around a common purpose. And so when you step into the gym and you've got 9 platforms and there's 9 people on them, all of those individuals are concerned about getting stronger. And they're there because they want to build strength for whatever the reason is, whether they're an athlete or they just are older and want to be able to do life a little bit better, whether that's getting out of bed or getting off the toilet. They just want to like live better, play with their grandchildren. But the basis of all of that is strength. And so when you step into a room and every individual's goal is strength, there is, like you said, that bond that happens. And there's just so much like, I mean, I was just at Starting Strength Austin, helping out with some classes there for the week. And just the people, when like someone's grinding out a rep and people are turning and watching, they're all yelling for them, like, go get it. That it's like, it's not just the coach. It's like all of a sudden the room erupts and you're like, wow. Like, and I bet, maybe these people hang out outside of class, maybe they don't, but inside of this room, they've got a bond that no one's going to be able to break. And hey, when you're struggling, we're going to be all here to cheer you on and keep you going. Now in San Antonio, we're going to create a community, and we're all going to hang out outside of the gym as well. We're going to have some barbecues. We're going to have some pool parties. We're going to go to the bar. whatever it is, we're going to get together outside of the gym too. But it's just that it starts from that bond that's created in the gym. And hey, I've done something heavy and difficult today, and you've done something heavy, and we can kind of come around each other as we kind of like struggle through our workout, right? But we're all kind of struggling and pushing through it together. And there's something unique that happens when you're all kind of like in that zone, if you will. So yeah, definitely excited for the people of San Antonio to get stronger and start to build that community, and just excited for them to experience it too. Like, and even as a coach stepping into these gyms and seeing how it has made an impact on all of these individuals, it's like, come on, San Antonio, we're ready. We're ready for it to happen to you guys too.
I really share in your enthusiasm. And I'm glad that you brought up going to other gyms, because I think that that's another unique quality of starting strength gyms. When I speak to candidates who want to become apprentices, I tell them that, while one gym is being built up, we might be training you at another gym, and how these gyms are like career centers. And they're shocked because they're coming from a training background, personal training background, where everyone's super competitive for clients, right? Certainly your fellow trainer, your colleague, isn't going to be helping you out, right? Because you're all competing for the same business. But the gyms are not structured that way, and you got to go around to different gyms and kind of and coach a little bit, right, to polish up your skills, but also your skills as a leader, because you're going to be the head of a team. So you're going to have a staff coach and some apprentices. And can you talk to our viewers a little bit about how that works, how that team works, how the groups are kind of divided up, and speak to the environment of like the kind of educational component, the fact that you are teaching an apprentice, they're learning, the client is benefiting because they're part of this really cool environment where they're hearing information come in. They really know they're part of something real. And you've had to really grow into a leadership role, which is a little bit different than being simply a coach, one-on-one with someone. So that's been a transition for you as well.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that's definitely what's unique about these gyms, is that you can be put into that environment. And a lot of apprentices are coming to me and asking, like, oh, is it like worth it? Like the coaching in the gym? And it's like, absolutely. I mean, when I became a coach, there was nothing like this. Now, I was fortunate to work alongside Brent, and he had a barbell class in the city, but it was one class, Tuesday, Thursday morning, and Saturday morning, and it was capped at 12. So maybe you saw 12 individuals 3 times a week that were interested in getting stronger and lifting with barbells according to this method. But when you've got a starting strength gym, the amount of people that are coming through that door every single day far exceeds anything that you're going to see in any gym. And again, it's because they're all coming for the same thing. They're coming for strength, but they're coming also to learn this specific model. So when you get that sample of people, as a coach, it's just a huge opportunity to develop your skills and develop them a lot quicker than you could at just a random gym trying to train clients that might be interested in this but might not be. As a head coach, it is my responsibility to help develop these coaches that are coming up under me. I will be coaching the morning classes, so Monday through Friday. I think we have a 5:30 class to 7, and then we'll have a 7:10 to like 8:40. Then there'll be a break, and we'll have a noon class, and then we'll have 3 classes in the evening starting about 4:30. My coach in the evening is going to be Matt Haver, and he's coming from Starting Strength Dallas and Starting Strength Plano. He's been working at both of those gyms under Brent, so we both have that connection with Brent already. And so he'll be coaching the evenings, and so that's how the classes will be split up. So when you first come into our gyms, you're either going to be working with me in the mornings, or you're going to be working with Matt at night. When we bring on our apprentices, and right now we've got one for our gym, that's going to go through an interview process through Brent and then myself. And how the format kind of works, we'll set up a schedule with them. The idea with the apprentices is that we're going to try to work with their schedule, right? Because this is not a paid apprenticeship, so they've got to have to make money somewhere else. And so we really want to support that, but also support their growth in the gym. So whether that's coming in super early in the mornings with me, are hanging out late at night with Matt until the last class leaves. We're going to do our best to make sure they get in the hours that they need every single week, but that they're also still able to support themselves and or their family. Also one of the requirements when it comes to the gym is that they have to be enrolled in the prep course, and the prep course has its own formats that you have to go through and timeline that you have to adhere to. And so as my job as a head coach, I'm going to be supporting them as they go through that prep course. Now, the great thing about the prep course is that they're assigned
Mentor.
mentor. There we go. They're assigned a mentor that they have to report back to as well. And so I think just this combination of the mentor, the head coach, the level 2 coach at our gym is going to provide an excellent learning and growing opportunity for any apprentices to come on board with us. I'll be also in charge of running educational events. So we'll be doing probably quarterly educational events for the staff. So myself and our Matt, and then any other apprentices we have on board. We'll also probably be running weekly sessions, going over different lifts. So like breaking down the squat, the press, the deadlift, the power clean, the bench press. What are the common breakdowns? What are some common things that we can fix? What are less common things? And just analyzing those as a team.
It's very supportive environment. And, I wish, I'm listening to you talk about it, and I'm like, God, I wish when I was becoming a coach, I had access to a mentor and a head coach who was mentoring me and making sure that I had, first of all, if I had a prep course, okay, that would have been a win already. But there's somebody on the gym floor making sure that the things I'm learning in the prep course are being reinforced on the gym floor. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity, like you said, for apprentices, and we still are accepting apprentice applications. And I know that Brent Carter has a lot of big plans, and he's going to be opening a lot of gyms in the future. And so I know that you'll have your share of head coaches to be coming and learning from you. It really is, it's a place that really delivers a lot of value, not just to the member, but also to the team and to the apprentices and to, anyone that walks into that building. I have a lot of respect for what goes on in the gyms, and people always say to me like, you're such a groupie of starting strength. I'm like, you don't understand because you haven't tried it. But there's something real to this method, and the fact that these facilities exist that are built out specifically for you to come in and practice the starting strength method. I mean, you don't know how lucky you are. You and I have had our experiences in big box gyms, right? And I mean, from being a trainer, trying to, get clients, doing things that the gym owner might not want me to do, like teaching the big lifts, and then having to try to get your clients and trying to get a space to train your clients, right? This is a completely different picture here.
Yeah, and also just having the right equipment. I think as a trainer, just different gyms, you're trying to run all over the place and oh, I need that, I need this weight, and it's all right there. And again, it goes to the design of the gym. It is designed for barbell training and getting people stronger, and everything that we need to accomplish that is right there at the gym. And yeah, what a unique place. And like you said, it didn't exist when we were becoming coaches. I had to kind of strong arm some clients, hey, some of them were runners, and it's hey, if we could get your squat and deadlift up, your running would go a lot better. And it was just kind of that slow process of well, maybe we'll start with the deadlift and then we'll slowly incorporate the squat. And then it was you slowly ease them into the program instead of them coming in and wanting that. So yeah, it's definitely a huge benefit to have people just coming in and saying yeah, and whether they know about starting strength or they just Google and want to get stronger, they know at least that this is going to be an environment where they can accomplish that. And I think that's a huge testament to starting strength and all of the gyms that already are open, and what they've been able to accomplish in their communities.
It's an exciting time for all of us, and a great opportunity for everyone that joins the team. And well, November it is. When you think about kind of day one doors open, when you think about that first month, what are you looking forward to the most coming in there as a head coach and starting to work in your own facility? What are you looking forward to the most personally?
Oh man, uh, I don't know. Uh, I think getting the opportunity to coach, I mean, people in a group setting again. Honestly, like, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to go up to Austin a couple of times, but I think just like having that routine and that schedule and being able to get to know my members. Whereas, like, I've gotten to know the Austin crew, and they're great. It's been awesome being there, but I have to keep saying goodbye, and I'm like, I'm going back to San Antonio, and so it's like it'll be nice to like create that community in San Antonio where it's like I don't have to say goodbye. Like, no, I'm gonna see you Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm gonna see you guys Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I got you, and we're not going anywhere. You're gonna be here. I'm gonna be here, and we can start to build that community. And yeah, just seeing everyone get stronger and just seeing the benefits that it's gonna the positive it's going to play out in people's lives. I'm very excited about that, and just already. I mean, I worked with a lot of older individuals in New York, and just seeing how the smallest strength gains make a huge difference. And so I know there's people here in San Antonio that may be in the same position, and just excited to make that difference in their lives. And yeah, doing it together with the Starting Strength San Antonio community.
Well, Victoria, San Antonio is lucky to have you. And congratulations on this incredible accomplishment on your new position. And I look forward to doing a follow-up podcast with you where we talk about all the great things that have been happening in Starting Strength San Antonio, and certainly how you kick butt on that leaderboard against all the other gyms. They don't realize that you pack quite a punch.
They're not sure what's coming.
That's
So
right.
I'm excited to.
Don't
Exactly.
underestimate Victoria. Well, thank you for
Exactly.
joining me today. I'm really looking forward to doing a follow-up with you. Congratulations, and
Thank you.
we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you so much, Ina. It's always a pleasure.